No, but then memorized the full Quran, so they all agreed it was
No, they didn't.
114.
Ubay bin Ka'b memorized the Quran fully, and he disagreed with Zayd and Abdullah bin Masud. That's the whole point. That's my argument. How could people learn the Quran from the same man, memorize it from A to Z, but when they write it down, they're full of contradictions and don't agree? That's exactly my argument.
You know, I've been told that Uthman got rid of the Qurans from the community because
From who?
everyone was just writing their
No,
Quran,
that's not true.
their own Qurans.
Yeah,
Everyone writing their own
Judgment Day Saif. That's
Quran.
not true, friend. Friend, I'm not trying to cut you off. That's not true. Go read your sources carefully. I have the traditions in front of me. The Qurans that he burned included the Qurans of Abdullah bin Masud, which is why he objected. So it's not just people, it was the Qurans of the other Sahaba. This is in your sources, so I don't know.
The thing is, Sam, there were so many people writing it. His companions were writing it. There were so many people in the communities were writing it. So what Uthman did, he got angry and thought, what the heck are we all writing it for? So he got everyone's Qurans and got rid of them. And
Even
then
Abdullah
he
bin Masud?
compiled, and then he compiled
Okay.
the one that he wanted to, because
Stop
in the day,
slowly, buddy.
he had it.
Stop slowly.
No,
Slowly.
he compiled, he got rid of them all, and then he compiled the one.
You didn't hear my question. You didn't hear my question. In your hadith, Bukhari and Muslim, and I can give it to you right now if you want, and I will. It says, when you learn the Quran, learn it from four. And two people he mentioned was Abdullah ibn Masud, Ubay bin Ka'b. So if he burned these Qurans by neophytes who didn't know the Quran, that's one thing. Why did he burn and force Abdullah bin Masud to give up his Quran and burn them when Abdullah bin Masud and Ubay bin Ka'b were two of the four that Muhammad said learn the Quran from? So why burn them?
I don't know. To be honest, I haven't heard of that one before. But
let me get you the hadith. You want me to get you the hadith?
Yeah, go on.
Okay, hold on. Let me get it for you. Look at the private chat. Here's the link.
Abdullah bin Masud was mentioned before. Abdullah bin Amr, who said, "This is the man I still love, as I heard the Prophet saying, learn the recitation of the Quran from Abdullah bin Masud. He started with him Salim, the freed slave of Abu Hudayfa, Muad bin Jabal, and Ubay bin Ka'b."
Okay, now because you were not loud enough, everyone heard. Narit Masruq, Abdullah bin Masud was mentioned before Abdullah bin Amr, who said. So someone mentioned the Abdullah ibn Amr, Abdullah bin Masud. What did Abdullah bin Amr say? That is a man I still love. Why does he love him? As I heard the Prophet saying, learn the recitation or reading of Quran from four. From Abdullah bin Masud. He started with him. Salim, the freed slave of Abu Hudayfa, Muad bin Jabal, and Ubay bin Ka'b. Do you see why Abdullah ibn Amr loved Abdullah ibn Masud?
Yeah.
Why did he love him? According to Sahih Bukhari, Volume 5, Hadith 153. Why did he love him? Do you see it? I can't hear you.
Yeah, just...
Okay, all right. He loved him. Let me explain it then. He loved him because when your Prophet said learn the Quran, it said he started with him first. Meaning he was the most qualified in teaching you the Quran. And also in the list was Ubay bin Ka'b. So if your Prophet said, these are the men to learn the Quran from, he didn't mention Zayd ibn Thabit. He did not mention him in the four. And Abdullah bin Masud, he began with him, which is why Abdullah ibn Amr loved him, because he saw how important he was to your Prophet and how much knowledge he had of the Quran. What business did Uthman have to demand Abdullah bin Masud to give up his Quran and burn his Quran and Ubay bin Ka'b's Quran when they were more qualified than Zayd? In fact, you should know this. Abdullah bin Masud was one of the migrants. He was part of the Muhajirun. He was the one who became Muslim Mecca and then migrated to Medina, whereas Zayd was an Ansar, meaning he only became Muslim later when Muhammad went to Medina. That means Abdullah ibn Masud for all those years was a Muslim before even Zayd knew what Islam was. So who gave Uthman the right to do that?
I don't know what happened there, but he was a good writer of the Quran The one that
Who?
you're on
Who
about,
was? Who was?
Ibn Masud. You're on
Yeah,
about.
not only good. Muhammad started with him first, meaning he's the most qualified, and mentioned Ubay bin Ka'b. He didn't mention Zayd ibn Thabit in that list, did he?
No.
Okay, so my question is, why did Uthman, who's not a prophet or messenger, determine we're going to make the copy of Zayd official and the rest we're going to burn? Why did he do that? That included destroying Abdullah ibn Masud's Quran. Why? I'm still waiting for the answer. Why?
Wasn't it got to do with the what's that word called? Wasn't it got to do with the wordings? You know the
Do you mean the
language.
ahruf?
Oh, what's
The
that thing
ahruf?
called? Different, readings of
No,
the
it's
Quran.
not just different readings if you're meaning dialect. No. The
Yeah,
readings
dialects.
were different, so much so that when they were reading the Quran, they didn't even sound the same. Not because of dialect. I'll tell you why. There's a hadith, and I'm going to give it to you right now, and you're going to read it, where Omar went to prayer, and Hisham was reciting Surah 25. And when he recited Surah 25, it was so different that Omar wanted to attack him, but waited for the prayer to finish. Then when it finished, he grabbed Hisham violently by his collar and dragged him to your prophet. And he said, I heard this man reciting Surah Al-Furqan, Surah 25, differently from the way you taught me. So then your prophet said to Hisham, recite. He goes, yes, that's how I taught you. And Umar was shocked. And then he asked Umar, you recite? And when he recited, he goes, yes, I taught that way to you. The problem is they're both Qurayshi. They both spoke the same dialect. So the difference wasn't in the dialect because Umar spoke Qurayshi dialect. Hisham spoke Qurayshi dialect. But when Hisham recited chapter 25, it was so different from the way Umar learned it that Umar was shocked. So it's not dialectal differences. The differences is in the actual wording of the chapter. And Muhammad said, oh yeah, I taught you, Hisham, that way. And Umar, I taught you that way because Allah revealed the Quran to me in 7 ahruf. And to this day, the scholars do not know what the 7 ahruf were. So,
Yeah.
but that didn't answer my question, Saf. Why did Uthman burn the Qurans of Ubay bin Ka'b and Abdullah bin Masud when your prophet said these are two of the four that are most qualified to learn the Quran from, not from Zayd ibn Thabit?
To be honest, yeah, I don't know about this one. I need to find out
Study.
about this.
Okay. So we can get off that topic until you study it. And another thing, I want you to study this very carefully. This is from your sources, not mine, and I have all the documentation. Your own sources say that Abdullah ibn Masud only had 111 chapters of the Quran because he said Surah Al-Fatiha and the last two surahs are prayers. They're not part of the Quran. Ubay bin Ka'b had 116 surahs that he claimed your prophet taught him as part of the Quran. So even with Abdullah bin Masud and Ubay bin Ka'b, they could not agree how many surahs did Allah send down as part of the Quran and how many verses each surah contained. So you have Abdullah bin Masud, who only had 111 surahs, Ubay bin Ka'b, who had 116, but what you have today is 114. What's going on here?
No, but I thought they had it all memorized, all of them.
Thank you. Why is it they memorized the Quran and they couldn't agree because the way they memorized it was different from the other? You're making my case.
No, but they memorized the full Quran, so they all agreed it was 100.
No, they didn't. Ubay bin Ka'b memorized the Quran fully, and he disagreed with Zayd and Abdullah bin Masud. Abdullah bin Masud memorized the Quran fully, and he disagreed with Zayd and Ubay bin Ka'b. That's the whole point. That's my argument. How could people learn the Quran from the same man, memorize it from A to Z, but when they write it down, they're full of contradictions and don't agree? That's exactly my argument. Explain that.
I don't know, but how can they all memorize the Quran and then they all disagree? I leave that.
Exactly.
Sam. Leave that, Sam. No, come on, Sam. No, man. They all agree. They all.
My brother in humanity, I just quoted you your hadiths. I didn't make it up.
But they all agreed at the end. They all agreed at the end. There's
No, they
14.
didn't.
Come on.
No, Abdullah ibn Masud. Well, I'm going to give you the source to prove it. Abdullah ibn Masud, till the end, opposed Uthman to the point that when Abdullah ibn Masud entered the mosque with Uthman, He got beaten and his ribs got broken and he died from the wounds.
I'll do my research into that.
Okay.
Yeah.